Urgent, G-Men fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because we bring you daily videos with the latest Big Blue news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything NFL Draft 2025. Here are Giants' top needs and best available prospects entering Day 2. The Giants have just one pick on Day 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft. That's because they addressed edge rusher and quarterback in a big way. Thursday night, Abdul Carter at number 3 and Jackson Dart at number 25. Joe Schoen traded away a second-round pick, number 34, and a third-rounder, number 99, plus a 2026 third-rounder to get number 25 and Dart. So the Giants on Day 2 are scheduled to pick only at the third round's first selection, number 65. Then on Day 3, they have a fourth-rounder, a fifth-rounder, and two seventh-rounders. With one round in the books and quarterback addressed, the Giants still have needs at offensive guard and defensive tackle, plus probably wide receiver. Here are some intriguing remaining prospects to watch at those positions heading into the final 2 days of this year's draft: offensive guard Jonah Savainaya, Arizona Tate Ratledge, Georgia Marcus Mbao, Purdue Miles Frazier, LSU Wyatt Milliam, West Virginia Dylan Fairchild, Georgia Joe Huber, Wisconsin Jalen Rivers, Miami Jackson Slater, Sacramento State Joshua Gray, Oregon State defensive tackle Darius Alexander, Toledo Shamar Turner, Texas A&T Jay Sanders, South Carolina Omar Norman Lott, Tennessee Alfred Collins, Texas Joshua Farmer, Florida State Ty Robinson, Nebraska J.J. Peggs, Mississippi Deone Walker, Kentucky Vernon Broughton, Texas wide receiver Jaden Higgins, Iowa State Tree Harris, Mississippi Luther Burden, Missouri Jalen Noel, Iowa State Jack Beck, TCU Jalen Royals, Utah State Kyle Williams, Washington State Jalen Lane, Virginia Tech Ty Felton, Maryland Torrey Horton, Colorado State. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Big Blue news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Giants-Texans trade grades for blockbuster move involving Jackson Dart. Check out our grades for the Giants and Texans after Thursday night's big trade during the 2025 NFL Draft. The first round of the 2025 NFL Draft featured a handful of fascinating trades. The night started with a bang after Jacksonville traded up to the second overall pick to select Travis Hunter. There were also a number of other trades, including a big move up the board by the Falcons and a pick swap at the end of the first round. However, only one of those trades resulted in a quarterback being selected. New York and Houston made a trade that many NFL analysts predicted would happen. The Giants entered the 2025 NFL Draft desperate to find a young quarterback. Everyone knew the Giants would take Abdul Carter with the third overall pick, which meant a trade back up into the first round was extremely likely. The Giants did just that, moving up into the bottom of the first round to select Ole Miss QB Jackson Dart. Here are the complete trade terms. Giants received 2025 first-round pick, became QB Jackson Dart. Texans received 2025 second-round pick, 34th overall 2025, third-round pick, 99th overall 2026, third-round pick. Which team will come out on top of this trade? Below, we will explore this trade from the perspectives of both teams. I will also hand out a grade for each team. The Giants make a smart trade to acquire QB Jackson Dart at discount price. This may be the best-case scenario for the Giants considering their current position. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are clearly on the hot seat after a dreadful 2024 season. Giants owner John Mara made it clear that he expects his team to find a new quarterback this offseason. The Giants added Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency. Now Dart comes in as a developmental quarterback. Daboll has already declared that Wilson will be the starter instead of Dart. Obviously, a lot can change between now and the fall, especially if the Giants start losing games in the regular season. Regardless, we can grade this draft assuming Dart is only a developmental player. Dart was a 3-year starter at Ole Miss, playing against top competition in the SEC. He steadily improved throughout his collegiate career, which should give New York confidence that he can continue to develop from the bench. Some NFL scouts may compare Dart to 49ers QB Brock Purdy in terms of playing style and strength's weaknesses. It is presumptuous to assume Dart will have Purdy's NFL career, especially considering the organizational differences between New York and San Francisco. We should also note that picking Dart over Shedder Sanders is a bold choice. New York is already being questioned about that decision. I really like this trade by the Giants, even if Jackson Dart's future is a complete unknown. The Giants got much better in the first round of the draft. Now they just need to get the job done on the field this fall. Grade B, should the Texans have selected an offensive lineman instead of trading back? Let's address the elephant in the room. It is almost impossible to truly assign the Texans a grade for this trade, largely because they haven't used their picks yet. With that being said, we can examine a few factors to help make sense of the trade. We can look at which players are left on the board as well as how many picks the Texans have to work with. It is also worth considering what exactly the Texans hope to accomplish with this trade. The Texans have a huge need on the offensive line, which many fans hoped they would fill in the first round. This is especially true after trading away left tackle Laramie Tunsil earlier this year. Unfortunately, there was a run on offensive linemen early in the first round. Will Campbell, Armand Membu, and Kelvin Banks Jr. all went off the board in the top 10. Houston was linked to Banks Jr. multiple times before the draft, but could not land him. Interior offensive linemen also flew off the board, with Tyler Booker, Gray Zabel, and Donovan Jackson all being picked before Houston went on the clock. That said, the Texans' objective did pass on drafting a tackle. Both Josh Connerly Jr. and Josh Simmons were on the board when the Texans traded away their pick. The good news is that Houston now has plenty of ammunition to get to work on day 2. The Texans have 10 remaining selections in the draft, including 5 in the top 100 picks. This gives Houston plenty of flexibility to get their guys on Friday night. Let's not forget that Houston also added a future third-round pick in this trade. Ultimately, I can appreciate what the Texans are trying to do. Trading down and acquiring more picks is great in theory, but you have to hit on those picks to make that strategy worthwhile. I could easily see my grade being higher if Houston comes away from day 2 of the draft with an impressive haul of players. Grade B Giants first-round draft grades. Did they get Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart, right? Grading NFL draft picks right after they are made is silly, but who cares? The Giants on Thursday night drafted edge rusher Abdul Carter at number 3 and then traded away 2 third-round picks, including one in 2026, to move up 9 spots for quarterback. Jackson Dart at number 25. Here's how we grade those picks, with the caveat that assessments can and will change once a player actually begins playing in NFL games. Abdul Carter. It's hard to argue with the best player available approach after Travis. Hunter went second to the Jaguars, who pulled off a blockbuster trade with the Browns. This is a weak quarterback draft. Reaching on a non-Cam Ward quarterback like Sheeter Sanders, who didn't even go in round 1, or even Dart at number 3, made no sense. Yes, the Giants already have Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau at edge rusher, but it's not like Thibodeau has proven himself as a consistent star. Grade A Jackson Dart. Joe Schoen twice passed on Sanders in this draft, first at number 3 and then at number 25. Is Dart a better prospect than Sanders or Jalen Milroe or Tyler Show? Who really knows? But Schoen badly needed at least a potential quarterback of the future in this draft, and he went with Dart while parting with those 2 third-rounders, one of which this year's pick is a borderline 4th-rounder, number 99. Remember, Schoen Kudve had J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix last year. He passed on them all. So Dart will be compared to all of these guys, McCarthy, Nix, Penix, Sanders, Milroe, and Show, in the years to come. And yes, it'll be at least a couple years before this all shakes out. Grade B Brian Daboll's first comments after drafting Jackson Dart will crush Giants fans. Daboll wasted no time. After pulling off one of the boldest day 1 swings of his tenure, New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen made headlines for all the right reasons. They landed Abdul Carter, arguably the best defensive player in the class at number 3 overall. Then, in a late-night stunner, they traded up to number 25 with the Houston Texans and drafted Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. It was a daring move. A smart one, and it looked like the blueprint of a front office that finally had its act together. Then what felt like seconds later, head coach Brian Daboll reminded everyone, this is still a wait-and-see operation. Speaking to the media following the first round, Daboll was asked about the quarterback situation. His answer was as blunt as it was predictable. Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback. That's it. No wiggle room, no qualifiers, no hint that Dart could even remotely push for the job. For a fan base starved for offensive excitement and quarterback upside, it was a little deflating. Like, we can't even pretend for a moment? Brian Daboll doesn't have plans to start Dart anytime soon. This was always part of the plan. The G-men brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency for exactly this reason. They wanted a bridge. They wanted a room that didn't force a rookie into action too early. And to their credit, they stuck to that script even if it's a tough sell in the moment. But for all the optimism about Dart's future, Daboll's comment underscored the reality this team isn't ready to unleash him. Not yet. It's a bit of a letdown. Fans wanted juice. Dart brings that. The throws with touch, hits tight windows, and has mobility to extend plays. And if you're going to take him over someone like Shedeur Sanders, you'd think the staff would be at least open to a camp battle or an accelerated development plan. Instead, Daboll drew the line. Dart will sit. Wilson will start. The Giants, it seems, are content playing the long game. Maybe it's smart, maybe it's safe, but it's not sexy. And it definitely isn't what fans were hoping to hear the minute after what looked like a franchise-altering first round. The Giants may have landed their quarterback of the future, and for now, that's exactly what he is, the future. And Daboll made sure everyone got that message loud and clear. Giants passing on Shedeur Sanders for Jackson Dart could doom Joe Schoen in New York. After the New York Giants used the number 3 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft to select a dominant pass rusher in Penn State's Abdul Carter, they traded back up with the Houston Texans to earn the number 25 overall selection. Even with Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders available, the Giants went in a different direction. With Sanders still on the board, the Giants decided to use the number 25 overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft on Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. While this is a solid selection that gives New York a quarterback of the future who can learn behind Russell Wilson, Joe Schoen just put himself in the crosshairs. If Schoen is incorrect in believing that Dart is a superior quarterback when compared to Sanders, it could be the last fatal mistake he makes before being shown his pink slip. If he's right, however, he may have bought himself some extra time in New York. Joe Schoen, Giants take Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders in NFL Draft Dart, has tremendous accuracy down the field, an arm that can make all of the NFL throws, and more mobility than he is given credit for. In the right offense, Dart could be a consistent 4,000-yard passer thanks to his great touch over the middle. However, Sanders is the better prospect in the eyes of many. His accuracy, ability to quickly diagnose plays at the line of scrimmage, and equal arm talent make him someone who could end up making Schoen look like a fool if he becomes a starter right away. While it might be tough for fans to get an answer on the Dart versus Sanders debate due to the fact Wilson will be clogging up the starting role for most of the season, all it takes is a few injuries and a very raw prospect like Dart being rushed into the starting lineup to prove Schoen is either a clairvoyant genius or someone in over his skis. And now, G-Men fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Big Blue. I'll be back any moment with more Big Blue news. J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go, Giants.